Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Due Process League Due Process Open, powered by Dreamhack. I am Rook, and I'm joined by Zach as we have the first matchup today, at least for the English stream. Obviously, we had the German stream earlier, but now we're bringing you the good old Queen's mother tongue.
So we're coming with two really good teams, SPG and Obscurum. Both are sitting or working their way up the standings. SPG, a well-known team in the Due Process League. Obscurum, a little bit new to the scene, but they're making some waves. They've already gotten 2 wins. SPG running with 1 win and a draw. Each team with 1 loss. So both of them really fighting for contention here. It should be a really good game.
It really should be, and I think Obscurum is definitely very interesting because it's not like they're one of these EU teams that have kind of obviously come out of the woodwork because we're playing more on those EU servers. This is an American team, North American team, who have really shot up and surprised so far. I believe their current situation is loss, win, win, if I remember correctly.
Yes, absolutely. And vice versa. SPG, really well-known team in the DPL, has been playing for in multiple seasons now, and yeah, they're sitting with win, draw, loss right now. So hopefully they can pick it back up in this game versus Obscurum and start working their way into the standings.
Yeah. The old stalwarts, teams that we have obviously seen around in DPL before, SPG, looking to prove that they are very strong. And, well, I mean, again, looking back towards that other side, Obscurum also quite a terrifying contender. I really have to keep in mind that, yeah, they did lose a game, but that was against currently tournament favorites, at least in my opinion, and top of the block. They dropped to Flogels in round one.
That's Flogels is a really good team, but yeah, I think possibly they took the lessons that they learned from that game and have been applying it into the games after, because it's looking like they've been pretty strong versus the last two teams that they played. So it looks like we're getting into the game here.
Indeed, it does. I'm trying to load in at least on Spectator.
Yeah, it took me a moment, so
What's this?
here we go.
Mm-hmm. Are you able to see the maps yet, or?
Not maps. We're just in loading now, so we're getting right in on the cusp of the game getting started. So
awesome. So yeah, I mean, obviously coming into this is a bit of a toss-up. I do feel Obscurum, lesser known quantity, but have been performing very well in this tournament so far. SPG, that more known quantity, we do know them to be very, very strong. And well, they've really got to prove that here with their more standard play style, playing more to a very tactical level, whether they can obviously utilize that heavily to stop Obscurum in their tracks.
yeah, definitely. Obscurum would definitely a wild card come into this. So we'll see if the known quantity can go up against this new team. We're coming in on a C store here. Operation Rapid Atlas.
Good name.
Storefront bomb. Yeah, storefront bomb. Big entry here on the right. That's if they decide to use a wall charge here, that allows them to get in pretty quickly, or it gives them more room to move. But it does look like they're going to go with the storefront play. The attacking team is kind of already drawing out where defenders could possibly be holding positions from, which would be Freezer and Arcade. I hope they're also going to bring a shotgun for this teller, because this is definitely still a good stronghold for the defenders.
Yeah, just someone sitting in there really could thwart a lot of their problems. But there'll also be some players towards bathroom. If they bring some flares, there's a lot of plays that they could potentially look for. That freezer is really going to be a thorn in their side if they don't clear it properly, right?
It's definitely a dangerous area, just because there are so many angles that can get help from the defenders. Not only do you have the door from bathroom, freezer, teller window, and the arcade, but it might look like the attackers decide to go with a different plan here.
They still aren't sure. They thought about that storefront at the very start, but I do think attacking into office means that you cut off a lot of this control, because you can really split the rotates from bathroom and freezer towards that other side. I like that they're looking to try and prevent this. And, well, also a good read from the defenders. They are ready with those barbed wires, not putting all too many in that storefront, just one.
Yeah, they have really stacked the barbed wire in some good choke positions here. So, and I'm not sure if they've taken some extra ones for bathroom, but at least most of the major routes are cut off.
Is going to be that entrance through the office side. You can see that Privgod is waiting for that. They're not committing all too hard yet. They might still go for somewhere else. Maybe they're... Oh, okay. They're not actually committing towards that. It's just a lot of extra writing going on in. A smoke to try and cut off. That's a really nice outside smoke there from the six side, and that means that this push through storage, through the green opening, the green open door, might be a lot easier. A good molly to buy some time means that for now, Obscurum do have some time to work with, as Matt is trying to put some shots down range and keep them at bay. Oh, good early frag as well. Takes down Render as they just peek out that little bit too wide. The door finally opens. Flash goes on out. Matt just pulls on back. OBM have to be careful here. And they invest yet another molly. Completely circumvented on a lot of the utility they were trying to push on in here. Those barbed wires just not ready in that position. Dusty trying to play from outside. But Matt just shuts them down. They are playing fantastic. This Kruger right now, you can see the six-sided is trying to get the angle, and they do manage to take him out. The trade is there. Playboys makes it happen, and six-sided is having quite the time trying to shut them out here. But Playboys with that shotgun just is holding the angle and the flank of the Dag Dog. OBM start off super strong here.
Wow, that was really well played. They did exactly what the defenders need to do. You you delay and you pull back and then try to get crossfires, and the attackers never were able to pick them off one by one. A lot of times you'll see with the new teams, they'll try to charge the attackers, or they try to take a room solo, and that's just a death sentence for any defender that does that. The attackers have more health. The weapons, a lot of time is you're overwhelmed by the amount of players. So it's like if you can't 1v1 them, you have to back up and get crossfires. And that was perfectly well played. Each member of OBM took or OBS took a really good position and just crossfired them completely. It really shut down the push.
Pretty fantastic stuff to start things off. In particular, I believe.
Definitely.
On Matt, really taking names of that Kruger, and I mean, if they can pull that off here, I think it's going to be a little bit harder to. Obviously, because it got a lot of these open areas towards shelving and dock, but there's still a decent few chokes you could really play around here.
Absolutely, that fan is going to be pretty tough for attackers. The defenders can hold off of multiple angles. This is a double fan map though, which is pretty nuts. Lots of angles here, lots of open areas. The attackers normally do a lot better when there's more space and less pick angles. So we'll see if SPG can get themselves their first round.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing which you're looking for when you're on these defense. You're looking for those ambushes to try and pick some to try and pick some of those players on up. And as you said, there are a couple of angles, especially towards storage and maybe something towards the entry into servers. But again, quite open areas to try and play around. Now, do you think we could see a wall charge here? Because last time I came to this map, a very similar map. I don't think it was exactly Crab Artemis, but there was a wall charge onto here so they could go straight into storage and then play into servers, because otherwise you get really gummed up in this situation here.
That office push is really difficult just because one barbed wire can really shut down any rotation through the docks area. I have seen this map once before. There are just so many good long snipe angles too, especially on this green section. And additionally, counter snipe angles from fan. It makes it really easy for somebody to really hold off of that. It looks like they're going to go for a fan play here, though.
4 players, sorry, in fact, watching that angle. They are ready for it. Dusty. Done and dusted already early on in this round. A bit of an overinvestment, I feel, there, but they do manage to take down Privgod at the very least, and you can see the Chugginator is already on that rotate. They managed to take down 6-sided as they push on out. Matt is still holding this angle. It's trades back and forth. Steve Tarrant wants to make it happen. A fantastic HE there to get rid of them, but it's still 2 versus 2. It has been some great trading back from Obscurum here, and now it's really only practice to regroup.
So Dag did get a nice little rotation on the backside of this fan for the flank, pushed people back out into his team, so it really caused some good pick angles there to open up for them.
Playboys, obviously on this leg, Ross wants to try and catch many players off guard. Easy to take players down in just a few sweet shots, but Dagdog gets the drop on them, and now it is just the Chugginator versus the remaining 2 players. Has a power weapon in hand, but at these closer angles, these SMGs could be all too terrifying. Thibaut Taran is getting ready for it. They have 1 flash left in the hands of Dagdog. I don't know if they expect Chugginator to be here. It looks like they're going to invest it. That flash could just be the end of the round. There it goes. The Chugginator does manage to get away, but playing at those angles, it's so difficult to deal with it. Dagdog finishes him off, and that's a good round.
Yeah, he definitely tried to hold out as long as he could, but that one flash, it just, it was kind of a dust sentence there. But maybe he could have tried to back up out of servers and try to hold from storage, but then you're giving up bomb, and at that point you've kind of in a very weakened position. That frag in on Matt was very unexpected. I'm surprised it caught him. It was perfectly well thrown on the backside of office. The snipes off of the initial really slowed the attackers down to some degree, especially when they were just getting set. Matt ended up dinging one of them for, it put him on pistol shot health, and got the second as they jumped in. I think he took another shot and killed another one. So it was a good strong hold from him. It's just there were a couple of pick angles that came up when Dagdog did his flank there. It kind of pushed people out of position, and they were able to start getting a toehold there. that takes us to, what is it? Operation Vulcan Tiger.
Where
Even
did these
better
names come
name.
from? Where do they come from? Did you just pull them out of a hat? Did you come up with them as a group? Or
Oh,
did you
when
just
the
go to
maps are
cool
when the
words?
yeah, when the map seeds get generated, it generates a name, and then
Oh,
the map makers actually can organize them. They can't change the name, but they can flip-flop the names. So it could be Vulcan Tiger or Tiger Vulcan, but they only get those options when they do the seed for the map, which is pretty cool.
Now, obviously, Vulcan Tiger, we are here. It's got one of my favorite features here, and it is got to be this pillbox. How important is this going to be to this round? Because obviously, it's got sight of a bomb. It's going to contest mains, backstage, kitchen, brick house, all that sort of stuff. It really does have a lot of control over the map, but it's also got this problem that it doesn't cover reception.
Pillbox is kind of a linchpin piece on this map. I expect there to be a lot of fighting around that piece. Just because it has views into multiple rooms, you can have it opens up angles if you can actually, if there's a stage or anything, right? Which I think there might be one right here. I mean, you can get some shots back through off a pillbox as well. So it does look like the attackers are going to do a backstage play with possibly some people coming in through reception to try to pinch club. They're going to do a wall charge, I think, here into pillbox possibly.
That's a really good call. That'd be a nice way to get a lot of pressure on, and I don't think Zishi will be expecting that in the same way. But you obviously got to be careful, because if Zishi is still holding the exact angle that they are, that could be really problematic. It'd be interesting to see Zishi invest this mullet. Yeah, it does go on through. I don't think that actually cuts off the entry. Instead, they're going to have to put themselves in a bit of a better position to try and contest that. Tries to get the spray with the knack. Doesn't get anyone early. Dagdog is just going to push on through. They really want to force Zishi off of this, and even going for some of those wall bangs for some pretty scary positions now. Oh my god, six-sided with some fantastic shots. Takes down two and really sets them up for this round. You can see Tibor Taran just looking for someone here. The Chugginator takes him down, and the Render also falls here, but six-sided comes up big, has pushed on through with a long-range weapon and is really making short work of these players. Matt is rotating back towards, but six-sided knows exactly what's going on here. Just one player left, and I don't think Matt's going to be able to find this one at all. There it is, a single shot.
Six-sided, you monster.
Yeah. Brilliantly played by six-sided, really heavily utilizing these power weapons.
Goodness. I did not see that they had recovered the mop in the last round. It paid off dividends there. For six-sided with the opening snipes, the attackers had no chance.
That was
the defenders, yeah. I will say that this pillbox is an amazing addition for the Killhouse tile set, just because those walls stop a lot of the bullet pen wall penning. So I mean, normally you see a lot of teams just spraying walls, but the pillbox kind of negates a lot of that issue.
Means you actually have some sort of variation, and that's actually kind of nice, because otherwise sometimes the kill box can be a little bit too much like that. I remember watching a kill house game where it was literally just players wallbanging each other over and over again, and it's nice, but sometimes just sometimes just taking pot shots can get a little bit repetitive. So as you said, really great addition. And over here back towards Rapid Atlas.
Yes, and we've now done, I believe this is side switch. So the teams have now switched into the opposing roles. Yeah, we're back on the C store, and I'm interested to see what OBS ends up deciding what their play for this map is going to be.
Indeed.
Because again, like we said, that storefront is really open, right? Like, it's going to be tough for them to just I mean, like we saw SPG really get bogged down in the arcade, or even just trying to get into the storefront, just because there are so many angles to hold.
Yeah, especially because there might actually be a barbed wire on storage, on the entrance into storage this time. That could be particularly difficult, and that's looking like it's where OBM actually want to play towards. So I think this could be very, very difficult, especially if there's a player waiting in there. You've obviously got mollies to back it up. I do think trying towards storefront, not going with the same strategy, could really work out for them here. And it looks like they might be making a mistake to try and just hard commit to this.
Yeah, Rogue. I was thinking what would be an insane play, which it's not. I don't see anybody drawing it because it looks like they're doing almost going to do the same play that SPG did. But if going from storage and wall blowing in next to
Ooh,
Teller would be a really
spicy.
surprising play on this map because I it would be something I normally wouldn't expect. Allowing you to kind of use Teller as almost a shield and safety to scout along that edge. But it's like attackers are on their way.
Yeah, they are. And, well, going with the storage again should be able to make sure at least the beginning of that entrance isn't all too hard. A really nicely placed barbed wire there should mean that it's very difficult to properly stop them from playing. But you see all the players just pause and look in. Make sure no one is waiting around that corner in storage. And, well, of course, they don't know where Dusty is, but Dusty has that molly in tow to try and cut things off. Trying to get some of those wall bangs there is six-sided and Dagdog, but they don't find anything. The molly goes down, and instantly they push into that position, trying to get some of those sprays on through and put some pressure on, chew through that timer that we talked about being so important.
No, they're deciding not to use the grenade to clear the wire here. The defenders really do have this pretty well held right now.
Yeah, I don't know why they're not trying to clear the big mistake and they lose a player to Dagdog here. They really are getting gummed up. They need to make something happen. Door open, but Dagdog claims another victim. Finally, they invested there. I don't even know if they got it from at least what I can see. I don't think they did. And just
no, I think the wire's still there.
Yeah, completely held in this position now, and there's no way they can push on in here. They know Dagdog is just contesting this every time you push on up. Maybe you take Dagdog down, but you still have to deal with the rest of these players. They push on through. Dusty is waiting there, doesn't get the shot, all importantly. And now there is actually a contest towards this storefront. They can actually push on in here. You can see Tibor Taran is waiting in the wings to try and make that play happen. Finally, Dagdog gets a taste of his own medicine, but a good molly, and Tibor Taran will easily get rid of Privgod there. It's two players looking to push on in versus two six-sided, just playing the time, baiting out some kind of aggression here. You can see Playboy's trying to move on in, but Tibor Taran is just waiting around the corner, completely given up. The Churginator does not have enough time and now just has to play for runaway. What a brutal round there, because they got held up in storage.
Yeah, I really think they needed to. I mean, they tried to use the grenade, but I think they threw it in too far. It ended up blowing on the far, like on the inside of the walls, and so it didn't actually clear the barbed wire. And that was a really tough round for OBS. Yeah, I don't know if they could have played that any better. I mean, it was so well held. Every angle was covered. You know, you had Dagdog and Six just kept poking the door, prolonging the attackers from being able to get in. It was just really, really well held. Maybe if they could have invested more flashes during a push and try to get people in. It was just really tentatively stuck on the exterior of the door with not many ways to enter.
Yeah, a bit surprising that not the greatest set of play from OBM. And I mean, looking on over towards this factory map, obviously they're not going to find the exact same problem again. There's a lot of ways to entry on in, and they've got these door and wall charges to play with here. Do you think they're going to go for something more towards door? Because I actually think this wall charge play, I still think that's
really
very good. I still,
yeah.
I believe in it.
Well, I mean, it really does get you in really quickly. You only have to worry about this one long angle here, right?
You could smoke
you know, that's the only danger is that you get that initial chip damage if you commit to the green door push, if they're watching it. But you do have the ability to like use this fan too to try to clear that angle as well. So as long as you're coordinating, try to clear that angle first before you enter, you might be able to swing through the green pretty easy. I do really like that start. It would be once again, it's circumventing the typical play that you'd see on this map, or like it's thinking outside the box plays. The one thing I will say is they still have the wall charge and a door charge, so yeah, it's worth it using both here.
Yeah, I mean they're going to have to use. They have one clacker, two clackers, two door charges, and one wall charge. So they might as well invest it here. And I think of the maps, it's either this or you're opening up pillbox like we saw on the last one. They have a couple of options, but I do think that could potentially be the best one. It looks like they're going to try and put some pressure onto these fans, and then maybe look for that dock push. There is going to be a player trying to stop them, however, from this OBM side.
Yeah, this angle is absolutely brutal coming off of office towards that fan, and Tibber with the knack waiting right next to the fan for when the team tries to push in on this.
It's cheeky. I like it. I like it. And Dagdog also sitting in dock. Again, trying to contest these long angles. It's only going to be one player. This is a bit of a surprise if they do that. Dagdog gives away the position, and that gives Zishi a little bit of info. And as we say,
Let's get a new barbed wire down on that green door, though, so it's gonna be tough to get in there.
Oh, he gets it. He takes down Brivgod right away, and now you're looking at that and going, what do we do about this? Matt's trying to catch an angle somewhere, see if they can find Tibor, but it doesn't look like it's going to be working out. They do actually get him finally. That means now that they do have access towards that fan.
He did drop the clacker though too, so Tibbs slowed this push way down.
Yeah, Dusty also contesting it, trying to get some shots down, but Matt manages to slip on in, get some shots down range onto Six-Sided, but doesn't actually take him down. It's Dusty who's taken out of office. Dagdog is going to have to hold here and deal with the Churginator, does manage to do it, and they even get 2 in total. It's back to 2 versus 2, as we always seem to be on here, but the split push from Zishi could be big here. Dagdog is looking for a shot over the top there, but just can't quite see them. Zishi has slipped on through.
Blocked. Yeah, this section here is actually pretty high, so I think that's actually blocking his view. But
fair enough. That makes sense as well.
No, you're all good.
Help from above, you know. That's just my excuse at the very least. But these guys, they have any excuses. They just need to make this execute happen. You can see that Playboys and Zishi just want to push on in, but no, at these closer ranges, some of their weapons could be a little bit lackluster against the defenders. They have such an advantage at these close ranges, and that's exactly what Render is going to leverage here. Some good shots going down range, but Playboys is still alive, trying to sneak on through. Doesn't have a lot of time to work with. Takes down Dagdog. Just needs that one more, but Render holds it down. And that is a 4-1 start so far. One more round in this half. But it's a great start, honestly, for SPG.
Yeah, that fell apart really quick for the attackers. Yes, there was the initial kill from Tibber, but then they were able to pick up pretty much. They had a few trades, but the attackers did have an advantage at a certain point, and then it just kind of slipped away. I feel bad for I think it's Zishi. He walked in with the sniper, walked around and met up, and then just got killed. You know, he was holding his angles perfectly, but there just was nobody around in those areas, right? Like everybody was up in the offices and trying to watch that north west side, right? And yeah, he got in easy. It just nobody. He was watching for rotations and nobody ever rotated. So. That kind of fell apart at the end. That barbed wire placement too by Dag, like right off the initial on the green door, like he was waiting to see if he could hear somebody. It was perfectly placed.
Yeah, it was a good call. Some really great reads from SPG, and they are a very tactical team. It's not a surprise to see all of that from them. But speaking of tactics, maybe we'll see a repeat again, because we do have obviously some drawings going on. That's from the defending side, but they still have that wall charge. They have a lot to play with here.
I do have to say, the one thing about SPG is they've been calling a lot of the attackers' plays, and when you're able to figure out what they're going to do, it makes it way easier for the defenders to shut it down, you know, because you know where to rotate. You've already kind of planned for what they're going to do. You know, it's already kind of looking. SPG is already figuring out all the plays. You can see them sketching. They could come through kitchen and blow up pillbox. They could do reception and then do a wall bang into club, right, or a wall charge into club. So they're actually planning out what are the multiple scenarios of attack that OBS could do, and then they know how they're going to counteract it if that play is actually going to happen. So it looks like they're all set up, and you know, right where they were kind of saying they're making sure they've covered every avenue.
They make heavy usage of the fact that they are defending second, so they're able to get a good amount of usage on that. Dagdog does run away just in time to miss, well, the real greeting party here on reception. Six-sided waste Zishi as the opening shot just comes on through. Only needed one, and then gets the heck out of dodge as they take it down a second for good measure. Dusty is now maybe looking to contest this, but decides, walking into bullets, not exactly my favorite pastime, but Six-sided is given, well, OBM an entirely new lecture on exactly how that one goes. 2 players left, and Six-sided, I mean, just continually finds so many of these frags. Dagdog even putting shots down range with the auto shot. He's just trying to find info about where they are, getting some of that wall bang damage on through. There it comes. Wall will be executed on Molly to try and deny, and those angles are just getting sprayed through. Dagdog putting so much pressure on right now. T-Bow Taran getting ready to push on through. I don't think Matt saw them. Six-sided does get taken down. Some good frags coming out now for OBM. T-Bow Taran and Dagdog, they're not exactly in the greatest of spots. The shot coming through almost takes them down. It's going to be Render who's really going to have to deny this, and Molly to try and stop the push from coming on through. But Matt's on the other side. They want to drop down off the stage. Smoke goes on in. That completely cuts them off. T-Bow Taran gets him through the wall. Brilliantly played. But now they need to get to Playboys. Playboys is on the bomb, and they are looking to try and bait on it. They want to get the shot, but Dagdog with that auto shot, he can easily take names very quickly, but cannot hit the shots. T-Bow Taran slips in behind, finishes it off, and a 5-1 half to start here. This is such a brilliant position for SPG. They have absolutely got it on lock.
Give Six-Sided a sniper on this map, apparently, because he is putting in work. My gosh, he had the snipes earlier in the reverse when he when he had the sniper rifle, and they came in through the other side, and this time they come in and he had picked up the saber, rattles off a couple of headshots, and then put OBS at such a disadvantage. I feel like they could have taken that round if Six wouldn't have literally dead stopped half of that push, you know, in the first 20 seconds of the round.
I mean, he completely hamstringed them. Really well played. Attack, defense, doesn't matter. Absolutely whatever. And SPG, the Holy Hand Grenades, absolutely exploding off the mark here. And, well, they're only 2 rounds away from picking up the game.
Yeah. We find yourselves on a new C-store, Moist Torch.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
is that like a glow stick that's broken?
Yeah, probably, or damp. It's just damp.
Oh, yeah.
Once again, there's a real choky kind of storage section where you can control they just put a barbed wire in storage, and if they try to go green, it's an absolute nightmare. There's multiple corners, there's multiple angles. You can pick them off from doorways and around different furniture and stuff. So, you know, I really worry about if they try to do this green door play, but I think they're indicating they want to do storefront.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Once again, there's a teller hole that can actually observe from bombs, so they're gonna have to do something about that. As well as it looks like they're fortifying as much as they can out of the storefront for SPG.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. That's where you're expecting the push to come on through. Just because there is a green door there doesn't mean you can push it, but that doesn't mean you should. And I think absolutely, if you're popping down that barbed wire as well, even if they need it out, even if they invest that to try and deal with it, it is not a place you want to be finding yourselves. And I think pushing into chokes doesn't exactly seem to be on the top of OBM's to-do list, especially after how map 1 on their offense went. That was absolutely disastrous. T-Bow Taran out front, not knowing exactly where this execute's going to come on and throw and where they're going to blow open storefront, but expecting it nonetheless. It does seem to be the only reasonable one. Maybe a bathroom push could have worked, but they've got many a player covering that as well. Render has a lot of room to play with around Teller here. Already deny it. There it is, front door. They're going right on in from there. Render, a lot of shots downrange, but doesn't go down. A good molly will buy them some time, and Render is just barely alive there. Does manage to stay in position and got a lot of backup right now. 2 players on the left-hand side here with shotguns trying to deny that push on through, but T-Bow Taran does not get a thing. Six-sided pushes on in, gets 1, can't get any more as Matt just seems to be on his stuff today as he hits those shots. Just Dusty barely doesn't walk on into those shots to go downrange onto Arcade, but pushes on through. That Nat can be strong in these close quarters combats, but it does not work out. It's now Playboys and Privgod just pushing on through, and with that backup from Matt, who has been fragging their absolute days. Good shots here from Render, with the pressure coming on in. It's only a matter of time before they're taking it out here. They don't have a lot of HP to work with, and you can see the bombs just going on out. Render is completely locked out of this round and is going to actually manage to take him down. If they can find these next 2 frags, it could be something. There's a lot of time to play with, but with the bomb just being held like that, you can bait out as long as you want. Just play for Render. Render might just run out of shots, honestly, at this point. That's a genuine situation they might find themselves on in. I don't think they have enough to really stop it. There it is. The pistol rings out. They stick it on it. Render pushes, and, well, sometimes it's not the time that lets you down. It's just you don't have enough bullets.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why there's ammo conservation in this game, because eventually you have to make a play, right? If you just had infinite ammo, you could just sit there and it wouldn't matter, but it really ratchets up the tension as you watch those bullets start to dwindle down. I mean, he was sitting on no health, right? He had very little, he was running low on ammo, right? Eventually you just have to be like, well, I gotta go in, right? But yeah, wow. The opening hold was really good. Besides Render getting kind of like chipped a little bit, but once they took those flashbangs that they chucked in were on point. They were able to secure OBS was able to secure storefront handedly, and then really start taking angles and getting a good foothold. And from there, they just started picking off the defenders one by one.
It's really well played, and I mean, a bit of a mess, honestly. They couldn't. They tried to play out in storefront, and it just didn't really work out for them. I mean, SPG. I don't think they were necessarily expecting to really get that one. Dusty 0 kills. Do you think? I assume that's true, to be completely honest. But it's a little bit sad. That man can frag normally, so it's a bit surprising to see him not show up here, and especially surprising when his team is 5-2 regardless.
Well, he's probably doing a lot of leg work,
yeah,
and then he's getting kill stolen a bunch. No,
it'll
be interesting to like go back and watch some of the VODs too to see what exactly what's been happening, right? But man, this map is massive. Fortuna Dream. Here we are in Factory. This is a sniper's heaven. 6-sided is gonna have a heyday, I feel, on this map. Like Office gives you tons of overlook over most of this map. He could be sitting up a generator just taking long snipes off of that. This is a really scary map, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, whether you're on attack or offense or defense, this could literally be the map which decides the game, because if SPG picked this one up, they could just close it out oh so quickly. Because if they go back to this on the defense, on the offense, I don't think they're all too worried about this either. There are so many angles that, well, obviously specifically 6-sided could really play and really leverage. So you have to be so careful, and I think you have to at least obviously win this once to be able to lock out this game. And I think Obscurum are going to have to be very careful.
This is once again, they've called all of the plays. They've done their due diligence to defend here for SPG. Barbed wires on both the green doors off of servers. It's going to slow down OBS. I mean, Obscurum's really going to have to try to get some good picks. 6-sided on the generator with the sniper rifle, right? Like, he's waiting for this play.
It is. You can see Dagdog for an opportunity to slip on in there. This is one of the least stressful servers to push that I've ever seen. It's not got too much room towards the back, and it's generally towards those doors. It's actually pushing out of the servers. There could be a real issue here. Flashes go on in to make sure that's a painless operation, but no one really there so far. Dagdog, I think his position might be given away there. He's peeked out in the open, pushes on forward, really is up against it, but Render is the one who renders Churganator completely useless there. Gets the lights, and now those defenders might find themselves in a little bit more of a difficult position. There comes a flare to try and light things up. Dagdog's still keeping them pinned, but those two players in the back mean that Dagdog can't push that far. Playboys punishes them, and now it's 4 versus 4 again, even with Render putting those shots down range. Doesn't take much back, but gets a lot of damage from very low members of OBM right now.
Supplies, too. They have no grenades left.
Not where they want to find themselves. I mean, I don't think there are any flares yet. 6-sided takes down Matt. And there's no utility on either side. It's going to be down to raw gunfights and holding these angles. Render and Dusty are just holding it down. Priv God has to make this happen. Pushes on through. Does get some shots into Timo Town, but the flank is there. Dusty falls in return. And 6-sided is still alive. It's just 1 versus 3. And, well, 6-sided is making that push happen. I don't think Playboy is expecting this at all. Render might be the one to get this frag here. Does put those shots down range, and that was exactly it. Those long angles are so good for SPG.
Dusty gets 1 kills.
Hell yeah.
I'll say this once again. SPG perfectly called the play. They had the defenses set up and then rotated to defend. sometimes you just got to abandon a play, right? Like you see that your play is called, you're like, well, looks like we might have to send somebody to the green door just to, there's no shame in having in trying to like not go through with the plan that you wrote out. Sometimes you just got to be like, hang it, we called the wrong play. They called our play perfectly. We need to do something random, right? And they tried to push in, but with they used all of their grenades. They had used all of their supplies. Like you said, it was just raw gunfighting. And when the defenders have every angle covered or crossfires for days, there's no way you're getting into that room.
No plan survives first contact with the enemy. Now, speaking of plans, here on Killhouse, bronze warning. What kind of things are we looking for here? Because it looks like it was going to be at that push through kitchen, which is, again, being completely called by SPG.
I mean, it's just... I mean, I'm trying to think. They used explosives in the first play, and then they used explosives in the second play.
And they lost both. No, they won the first one, so they still have a clacker. Okay, they still have something, so they can actually do it. And they can also push through breezeway as well, I believe. And that's what they're looking to maybe do as a split push.
Yeah, I think this is a better play call from OBS. It gives you a little bit more of the ability to pinch off of breezeway. The one thing that's kind of scary about breezeway is that if you once again have six-sided sitting here, six-sided is the thorn in OBS's side right now that they need to deal with right away, and then I feel like they'll have a stronger chance. Right. The more that you watch, the more you can put six-sided into the ground. I think the better the chances for OBS. But yeah, right now it looks like SPG is definitely getting everything set up. Once again, they've kind of called the multiple plays that the attackers will probably do, and worked to counteract that.
They haven't expected this breezeway push yet. There is something which could be big here, and that's down to the Churginator to really make that happen. Has been playing a lot of those split angles. I likely expect a rotate to come in from T-Ball Tower as soon as an explosion comes towards the kitchen there, because obviously they know there's not going to be a push into the front brick house here. Shots go down range, and they give away that there's a player in breezeway as well, trying to hold down something so T-Ball doesn't rotate out there and get caught out. 4 players waiting in this club area. I guess six-sided isn't exactly in club, but still in a very dangerous position. Some shots back and forth. Dagdo just waiting in the corner with this auto shot. He does manage to make it out of that position, which could have been oh so perilous for them. Churginator looking to back him one up here, but six-sided is holding the angle. Doesn't check it. The Churginator is expecting someone to be on the right now with those sprays on through. The Playboys almost goes down as well. The smoke goes on in to try and deny some of those shots. Just coming down range and already being down to 3 players could be real problematic. Six-sided now knows that there's no one outside of kitchen, and OBM, they are trapped like rats. And those flashes are going to have to be their lifeline, as Render is just holding this angle. Matt does manage to take him out. Their aim is on point, but six-sided. The man has to hit Snake Eyes sometime, right? Dusty, Dagdog, Playboys takes down them all. It's just 2 versus 1 now. And T-Ball Tower and six-sided are both playing the same angle, and Playboys has a lot of cover to be working with here. He's just holding it. He's trying to bait it out, but the molly forces him into a difficult position. That is a 7-2 win. Really dominant performance from SPG.
They knew that once they went into that kitchen, and then Six was in office, right? He cut off that other rotate, right? They were just trapped in that room, and they just started wall banging everything. Like everything was getting wall banged, and there was nowhere OBS could go. They were trapped in there, like you said, just like rats. That was perfectly played. Perfectly played.
It really was fantastic stuff from SPG. Obscurum, unfortunately, go to loss, win, loss. And now dropping to SPG and Flogel. So, I mean, 2 pretty solid teams to have your only losses to so far from Obscurum. Certainly no sweat off their backs at all.
I mean, they, give it up for Obscurum. I mean, to take rounds off of teams that have been playing at a very high level is something to be commended. I thought the plays for with a little bit of tweaking, Obscurum could be a really good contender technically if they end up deciding to actually go into DPL in the future, because man, they had good plays. It's just SPG had called counter plays every time. So it's, it's just one of those things you can kind of, and then perfect rotations, right? SPG, perfect rotations. Perfect backup. Every time they'd get a pick or a snipe, they'd hold angles, and then really just, I mean, it makes it really hard. When you use all your utility and then you're left with nothing, having to walk into a crossfire is just almost impossible, right?
Indeed, it is. That experience of SPG trumps the youth of Obscurum here. We are going to go to a short 10-minute break while we prepare for our second game of the night. We'll get who we have on for that to you as soon as we possibly can. We have 3 games today, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with you after this short break.